Taking you up to 2 p.m., we are joined by the one, the only, Jake Gadon of CBS 13. Jake, thank you so much for joining us, my guy.
Allen, how are you, my guy? How are you?
I'm good. I do have to say something before we get started here, Jake, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have to double check the tape. But the last time we were on a show together, we were in front of Golden One Center, and I believe we were having a discussion and or debate about whether or not the Kings would be the 5 seed, the 6 seed, or the 7 seed. We had the conversation, Jake, and after that, they free fall to the 9 seed. So we're going to have to maybe be a little bit more realistic moving forward here, my guy.
That was bad. That was bad with a capital B-A-D, okay? Bad.
Oh, but, you know, we were trying. We tried, Jake.
We were grasping at straws, okay?
That's right. Talking to Jake Gadon of CBS 13. Jake, let's start here. All right, out with the old, in with the new. Where are you at with what the Kings have done so far this offseason?
What offseason? What have they done this offseason? You talking Dennis Schroeder? You talking about picking their two picks? There's not much has happened this offseason, Allen. Let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. But there was not many moves that could be made. I think Scott Perry got given an unhealthy hand, and he's doing the best thing he can with it right now. A lot of contracts on the books that you really can't do anything about. So because of it, you're kind of stuck with where you're at. Jonathan Kuminga, that the whole trade that we've been watching for the past, I don't know, feels like an eternity, but it's only been like 2 months. I think it's been very interesting to see. And what that transpires, I think if that trade is made, a lot of things will have a domino effect with it. But right now, when you look at what's going on with the Kings, they added a point guard. They added a stretch 3-4 and Neat Clifford. They added another stretch 4-5 and Maxime Renaud. But this team is just running it back. And I'm more intrigued less about what they're doing this offseason and what Doug is cooking up right now as an offensive playbook for this team. Because I got no idea how it's going to work and who's going to take what shots and how this all looks here in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, you have Scott Perry during NBA Summer League where he's doing these interviews and he says if you dribble the air out of the basketball, it's going to be easier to defend. And we're all thinking, well, that's at times that can be what DeMar DeRozan does. Is there a world where this team evolves even without a lot of moves being made? I do think Dennis Schroeder is going to help. But that's a great call, Jake. And, as we get closer here, if they don't make another move, what is the new offensive? We know Doug Christie is a defensive guy with Woodson on the coaching staff with Bobby Jackson. What does this offense start to look like? What is their new identity? Last season, interim situation kind of was the Mike Brown offense. You didn't see too many tweaks. So that's a great call, Jake. Talking to Jake Gadon of CBS 13. Jake, where are you as far as what you wanted the Kings to do? Now, in our business, it's never necessarily good for a team to tank, but were you in the camp of, we'll call it developing young talent, or were you initially, or are you okay with the idea that you're going to continue to attempt to contend with the contracts that the Kings have?
I think it's a little bit of both. You can do both at the same time. I think that's the problem. Everyone wants to go one pendulum side or the other. You can do both at the same time. The Kings have a lot of great talent, individual talent on the team, but making that talent coming together is what the question is, right? So I think if you were asking if I was in the GM shoes, what I would have looked at, well, I would have looked at what the value was for Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan, which is what I think Scott Perry has done this offseason. I think you also look what the value was for Domantas Sabonis and see, hey, do we want to build around this guy? I thought they were going to possibly move off of DeMar and go in a different direction with him just because he wants to win now. But they do need a veteran presence in there. I wouldn't have been surprised if Domantas Sabonis was moved this offseason, specifically with how frustrated he was at the end of last year. But now he seems like to be the focal point of the organization, even though when I asked him about it over the weekend, at his kids camp, he
Yeah.
kind of rebuffed back and said, "Hey, I don't really care. At the end of the day, I just want to win."
Right.
Um, I think Zach LaVine, because of the contract, it's hard to move this year. I think you look at it next year. I was surprised, of course, about not extending Keon and making him going into restricted free agency with him. Instead, he's gonna be an unrestricted free agent next year, and we'll see how that kind of works out between both those camps. And they have a lot of money on the books. I'm surprised they did not move off of DeMar. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
But hey, they could always do it at the trade deadline. They don't have to do it during the offseason. I think Scott wants to see what he has. Gonna see what he has hopefully within the first 2 months, 3 months of the season, and then make some moves. After that, and he's done it before. Like he did it with the Knicks. Look at the Knicks track record when he took over. He's done this before in terms of flipping rosters and making not only great draft picks, but also bringing in guys that are bought into the program. I think you're going to learn a lot about this team over the first 2 months, not just as a fan, but as the general manager in Scott Perry.
Were you surprised as to how things turned out with Malik Monk and how quickly he was kind of put on the trade block? I joked that I was with Chris Watkins when free agency opened up. We were grabbing some lunch after the show, and everything escalated so quickly. It was a Dennis Schroeder sign and trade, and based on everything that you just said, he was the most movable contract. But, and we had people saying, the media, I'm sure there were people in your mentions, Jake, the Kings told the media to tell everyone that Malik Monk has no value and they have to move him. Look, obviously that didn't happen, but I was a bit surprised, to your point, that they almost prioritized moving Malik Monk instead of moving DeMar DeRozan. And I think Malik still has a decent amount of value in this league. But from pizza guy to possibly traded, that happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, but also you got to look at it in the flip side of things, okay? They gave Malik the keys to the car after that De'Aaron trade, and look where it led them, right? He's also hasn't been available at the end of the season the past 2 years when it's counted. So you put that in perspective and account for everything. Malik is a fan favorite. I love covering Malik. I love being around him. His aura, his swag is phenomenal. The way he plays, especially in the pick and roll offense with Sabonis, is like chef's kiss. But when he was given the point guard position, when he was moved in the starting lineup, things did not go to plan as what he thought he was. And I think that's where the rubber is meeting the road right now when it comes to these Malik Monk talks. He is the most ultimate six man that you can have on a team. He's not a starting caliber point guard. He could be possibly a starting shooting guard for an elite team. But he is not the starting point guard for the Sacramento Kings moving forward. He's a guy that's an energy guy off the bench, doesn't play great defense, can cook when he needs to, especially in games where guys are out. But his value is changed. It's not gone up or down. It's just changed of what he's actually able to do on a night in, night out basis. We have a better idea of what that looks like moving forward.
Talking to Jake Gadon of CBS 13. Be sure to check out everything he's got going on at CBS 13. All right, Jake, let's transition a little bit here to another very polarizing subject. The A's that play in Sacramento but are not the Sacramento A's that are going to Vegas, we think, formerly of Oakland. Give me your thoughts, Jake, on how this whole thing is played out. There are people, from my perspective, being from the Bay Area, the Sacramento versus Oakland thing was very just awkward for me. It kind of cooled off, but as of late, against the Rays, who also play in a minor league ballpark, some things have come up about the attendance and, just kind of reporting on the low attendance. There were conversations when they had high attendance. Where are you at with the first year of the A's? Is it what you expected, better than what you expected, or worse than what you expected?
Exactly where I expected. Exactly. I expected to have a lot more.
Oh, no. Did we lose Jake? Okay. I'll try to hold on here. Man, I wanted that answer too. All right, we're gonna give Jake a sec as we were getting his answer on the AL, on the athletics stuff. But yeah, I mean, what he had already said as
My
far
bad.
as
You got me? You got me?
Jake, we good?
You got me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got you now.
My bad.
No. You're all good. Just real quick. Yeah, your take on the A's. You had said it was exactly what you had expected.
No, exactly. I think the attendance numbers is exactly where I thought it would be. It'd be more away fans than home fans playing in attending games in Sacramento. I know as a Yankee fan, a diehard Yankee fan, I was there for all three games when the Yankees were in town. I know for other fans of other baseball teams, it's the same thing. Again, we got to remember this is a major league team playing in a AAA ballpark. You also got to look at the attendance numbers for the past 3 years when they were in Oakland. I understand that they had a sell the team and a reverse boycott and everything like that, but the attendance numbers even before that weren't great. Look at 2022 and the attendance numbers from that year at the Coliseum to this year right now. They're pulling better numbers at over at Sutter Health Park on a night in night out basis. So in terms of the actual engagement of what the team is going to feel like and how they've been in the community and what they're doing in Sacramento, it's up to par of what I was expecting for this team to do in their first year. And it's probably going to be the same in the next 2 years. It's not going to change much. I still think more away fans, fans of the away team are going to come in and watch the team to play. You're going to see less Oakland fans there, unless somehow or another the A's turn this thing around and become a playoff team in the next 2 years in Sacramento, which would be a really fun thing to see. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Do you, I guess, now that you've seen it happen and now that we've seen it happen, does it feel as if it was quote unquote worth it for Vivek Ranadive to make this decision? Because I'm just not sure. And again, getting to the playoffs, to your point, could change everything. There were some conversations about where those playoff games would be played. I think they'd probably be able to get Major League Baseball to sign off on playing at Sutter Health Park just based on how convenient it would be versus trying to have them play somewhere else and whatever nightmare it would be if they tried to play in Oakland. But now that it's actually happened, I don't know, Jake. I'm not sure that they're going to leave and Major League Baseball, whatever. And I told people just go out and enjoy the games. That's what I've said from day one. But I'm not sure that they're going to leave and Major League Baseball, when it's time to expand, as Vivek kind of said, and we still don't know if he was supposed to say that or not out loud, that Major League Baseball is going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, the A's in Sacramento, that was a complete success. Let's go ahead and give Sacramento the expansion team. I'm just not really sure it was worth it because I don't know if that's how the conversation's going to go.
I think it's worth it no matter what because you're going to take a risk no matter what on it, right? You'd rather try it and see if it succeeds or doesn't than not try at all, right? I'd rather be able to go in there and say, this is what it's going to look like. When you look at other expansion teams on the West Coast, like Portland is very interested in having an expansion team.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, same exact thing. Both of those markets have not had successful Major League Baseball there because no one's gone there yet. They have minor league ballparks, and we don't know how great those minor league numbers are because it is minor league baseball. But the fact that they've actually been able to try it here and see what it looks like, I think does give Sacramento the leg up to possibly have baseball here. But you also got to look at it this way. You know, there's a lot of moving parts that needs to happen in Sacramento for baseball to permanently be in the capital city. And I'm not just talking about Vivek Ranadive. I'm talking about local leaders wanting it as well. They're going to have to build a new ballpark. They would have to, it wouldn't be at the Sutter Health Park location. It would have to be another location within Sacramento. And as we've seen right now with Republic FC, with Sac State and their stadium deals, even at the Golden One Center, those things do not happen overnight in Sacramento. Actually, quite contrary, they take forever in Sacramento because everyone drags their feet.
Yeah.
When you look at that compared to a Salt Lake City, that is a city that is ready to roll. They would roll out the red carpet for the MLB. That's where I sit there and say, okay, the MLB may be more willing to go to a Salt Lake City that would be more willing to pay tax dollars to put a stadium up and be a home for an MLB team, especially if it's an indoor stadium, of high caliber.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think Sacramento has not done a great job in its past with their stadium deals. It's taken forever to get off the ground, and those teams are already in our market. For a team that's trying to expand, or an organization or a league that's trying to expand, maybe they do it differently. Who knows? But right now, I don't have a lot of faith
Mm.
in baseball coming to Sacramento for that specific reason of building a new stadium and building a new ballpark. Because I just don't know how long it would take for that to actually happen.
Yeah, and that's why I've always said, Jake, just enjoy the games. Just go out there and enjoy the games. One more for you, talking to Jake Gadon of CBS 13. Go check out all of his work at CBS 13. Check that out online. Check that out, obviously, on your TV tube as well. But, Jake, you brought up Sac State. I was talking to some people, Jake, and I saw the piece that you put out. Go check that out as well from Jake Gadon. What's going on with the Causeway Classic? UC Davis, Aggie up. They running from the grind. They running from the Causeway Classic. What's happening?
Okay, so it's a little bit of back and forth here, right? So let's put this into layman's terms and lay this all out.
All right.
Sacramento State is leaving the Big Sky after 2025. They're going to become an FCS independent. Originally, they wanted to become an FBS independent and move to the big boys. Of course, the NCAA declined that this past 2 months ago or a month ago. So they will be an FCS independent team with no specific affiliation, while the rest of their teams all go to the Big West, which is made up of basically a bunch of different California schools. So basketball, baseball, softball, whatever it may be. UC Davis is staying in the Big Sky. Now, with the UC Davis Sac State rivalry, that was always going to be on rivalry week for the Big Sky schedule. That was always going to be the final week of the regular season. That's always how it's been. It's how they set up their schedule. Now that because Sac State is not going to be in the Big Sky, they have to play UC Davis as an independent or as a non-conference game.
Right.
The Aggies have all their non-conference games set up for all 2026, which includes playing at San Diego, at SMU, and at home against Stetson. Now, my argument was, well, cancel the Stetson game. Yes, you could do that, but apparently there's money tied to it. There's a contract already signed. So right now, 2026, there will be no Causeway Classic, and which is really sad to say, just because it just doesn't look like it will be able to fit on their schedule. 2027, could it return? I think both sides are very eager in trying to make that happen. And if I'm the athletic director at Sac State and Mark Orr, and I'm the athletic director at UC Davis over Rocco DeLuca, I would go to both of them and say, hey guys, why don't you put like a 20-year agreement together where you guys play like Labor Day weekend, week 3 of the college football year as a non-conference opponent, and slate that in every year, which would be a great, local party here in Sacramento to play either at, Sac State at Hornet Stadium or play at UC Health Stadium over in Davis. So right now, 2027 could be the first year they play. Nothing is set in stone. So that's why I say the Causeway Classic's in Jeopardy, fam. It's 71 years, Allen, 71st annual, and it's not going to happen next year. And it's just a shame that we didn't have the foresight to think this through. Sac State will say, well, we want to keep this thing going. We think it's a great thing. UC Davis will say, well, we didn't account for Sac State leaving the conference together. They're kind of pointing, it's the meme with the Spider-Man meme where everyone's pointing at everybody, right? I just hope that, cooler heads prevail. Everyone comes together and says, hey, starting in 2027 for the next foreseeable 2 decades, 3 decades, whatever it may be, Causeway Classic will be back, and we'll have it every single year as a non-conference opponent.
Wow. Man, that is brutal, because now that you say it, because I was talking to those on the Sac State side, now that you give me both sides of it, which is why we wanted to have you on, Sac State, they thought they had bigger fish to fry. And now, they were going to have to sacrifice it. So UC Davis, we don't know what you guys got going on. Now we got to cancel a game. And Stetson's thinking, well, hey, we already have this. Now we got to go find somebody else. Wow. Jake Gadon with the fire, as always. Jake, thank you so much for joining us. So it's cooked for 2020. It's done.
Not happening. It's not happening. It will not be on a schedule unless something drastically changes in the next 6 months. But 2026, just know this. When you go to the Causeway Classic this year, look around and just say, I hope this comes back. Yeah. Because it's one of the best rivalries on the West Coast in all of Northern California. Both teams are going to be really, really good this year. I think UC Davis is ranked in the top 10 in most FCS top 25 rankings. Sac State's in the top 16, top 15. It's going to be a great year of college football here in the Capital Region. It's sad that we don't know if it's going to continue like that moving forward.
Jake Gadon, thank you as always for joining us. Be sure to follow Jake Gadon on social media where you can get all of his stories and everything that he's breaking down for CBS 13. Also check out his work on CBS 13, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok. Jake is everywhere, so go find him. Thank you very much, Jake. We will have you on again soon. And next time, hey, let's just say the Kings are going to win the whole thing. If we're going to be wrong, let's just go for it.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Let's do one quick prediction. So for next time, okay?
Okay.
Jonathan Kuminga is playing for blank team next year.
Oh, why are you doing this to me? I'm going to get aggregated now. I think it's the Kings. I just don't think that the Warriors are willing to take the chance with the qualifying offer. And that's what I think.
I'm right there with you, buddy. It makes too much sense.
Great. Now we jinx it, Jake.
It's done. All right, we cooked it up.
Jake Gadon, thank you so much for joining us. I'll text you, man. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good, my guy. Have a great day. Good night. Good everybody.
See ya. All right, that was Jake Gadon of CBS 13. I did not see when you're the interviewer.